Yes.
Did Dallas save their season?
I would say for the time being, considering that I expect the Eagles to be better than them, considering that the Washington Commanders look better than them, and you don't expect more than 2 teams to come out of the NFC East when we look at the playoff picture, I would say this went a long way towards saving their season because it still positions them to challenge for the NFC East, whereas a loss, I think, would have taken them in a different direction. I still don't like what I'm seeing from them offensively. I still think they were a one-trick pony instead of Dak Prescott to CeeDee Lamb and pretty much not much else, even though Tobin caught the touchdown pass. Brandon Cooks was out on the defensive side of the ball with Parsons out, with DeMarcus Lawrence out. Their defense wasn't looking too great to begin with before then. Certainly you didn't expect them to look great last night, but they got the job done. In the end, I would say this saved their season, though, because I'm looking at the rest of the NFC. Look at Detroit. Look at Green Bay. Look at
Minnesota.
I said Minnesota, of course, undefeated at 5-0, and what they're bringing to the table. Somebody's got to come out of the South. Somebody's got to come out of the West. The Dallas Cowboys, had they lost this game, I think they would have been in a really, really big hole. That's not the case this morning, so I would say they saved their season thus far.
I do not feel that they saved their season. I do not look at this football team differently this morning than I did going into the game last night. They've beaten 2 average football teams or below average football teams, certainly the Giants. Although, shout out to Brian Dable and Daniel Jones, coaching and playing your butts off. But they've beaten the Giants and the Steelers. They've scored 20 points. 5 of their next 6 opponents are going to be much better football teams than the ones that they've played in the last 2 weeks. Next week, they play Detroit. The following week, they play San Francisco. The following week, Atlanta, Philly, Houston, Washington. So if we want to have the conversation of save your season, are you going to actually matter in the playoffs? Because Woody this morning said, you never know, or talk to me about what you are as a football team November, or Thanksgiving, excuse me. These next 6 games will obviously go a long way to determining does Thanksgiving matter for the Cowboys or not truly. Their next 6 weeks are absolutely brutal. So, yes, good win. I don't think about them as or look at them differently as a football team than any different today than I did going into the game.
Shannon?
I'm going to have to agree with you, Dio. I don't look at them special either. Dak had a phenomenal game on the road. Not phenomenal great, a phenomenal drive because he did it without Brandon Cooks, and he did it on the road against a top 5 defense. So I think that needs to be commended. But if you look at who they've beaten, I don't think we look at any of those teams that they've beaten and like, wow, they beat some really good football teams, and they beat them on the road. That's not what we're saying. We're saying we're giving them their credit for winning games because we know how hard it is to win in the NFL. But are we certain that the Steelers, even though the Steelers got off to this 3-0 start, I was really never sold on them. I'm going to be very, very surprised if the Bengals don't end up having a better record than the Steelers. I know the Ravens are going to have a better record than the Steelers. So for me, I'm not saying it saved their season because I'm not so sure that their season is going to be saved when you look at the gauntlet that they got to go through over the next 6 to 7 weeks. But, Dio, can you tell me what Elliott is thinking? Jalen Tolbert is hobbled. It's a shallow cross. Now, we know this. The thing that you got to do, you got to beat him to the point because you got to dodge all that traffic. If he runs the option and options back out, Coach, he got me. Yeah. That's why that play was so successful in the Super Bowl for the Chiefs because Darius Slay knew he had to get over the top. And so when the guy pivoted the option, he was wide open. You've got to beat him to the point. He's hobbling, and it looks like Elliott is uncertain. Do I got him? Do I not? Well, let me go. And it's too late. But I'm with you on this one, Dio. I'm not sure the Cowboys have saved their season because I don't think they've beaten any team that would give me the indication that they're a really good football team. Mm-hmm. They beat 2 average football teams or maybe slightly below. One has an outstanding defense in the Steelers, and the Giants did an unbelievable thing yesterday on the road in Seattle. But I'm not convinced.
Well, forgive my lack of eloquence and clarity because clearly both of you are not getting my point. My point is that had they lost the damn game, we'd be like, damn, their season's probably over. You understand?
I still feel that way.
We're not saying that as of yet.
Over?
We're looking at this schedule. We're looking at Detroit, then a bye week, then San Francisco, at Atlanta, home against Philly and Houston, Texas, then at the Washington Commanders. I'm saying had they lost this game last night, we would be having an entirely different conversation about the Dallas Cowboys than we're having right now. Of course, they're still in trouble. Of course, they could still nosedive. We understand that. But at this particular moment in time, we're saying, excuse me, there's still some hope because they managed to win a game some would say they should have lost. That's what I'm saying.
Or we're not
sorry for the
accustomed
lack
to
of
seeing them
clarity
win.
and eloquence there.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it gave them a little life. Just because it's a game we're not accustomed to seeing them win, to pull it out like that in the end.
They got to get healthy. You know,
Well, if
Cook's
they don't
got to
be-
get back. DeMarcus, Micah, they got to get back.
Yeah.
See what happens with that.
Absolutely. All right.
Molly, they're going to need
yeah,
what
yeah.
they do in tennis. They're going to need to consolidate this win. In tennis, when you break someone's serve and then
Yeah.
you consolidate it by holding serve on your own, they're going to need to consolidate this because if you beat Pittsburgh and then you lose to Detroit, what have you actually done? And if you look at their schedule, we talked about the first 7, but if they got some others, they got the Tampa, they got the Houston Texans, they got the Eagles. They got Stephen A. The next 10 weeks. We're going to find out a lot about the Dallas Cowboys.
Why is this man on national television trying to act like he watched tennis? Why is he trying to do that? Why?
He does
I know.
Let's try to do that,
Yeah.
He does.
Stephen A. Don't do
He
that.
does watch
Stephen A. Don't do that with tennis
Don't
now.
do that.
Because I'm
Hey,
going
hold
back.
on, Stephen,
Boban
you do.
Ivanisevic, Michael Steets, Stefan Edberg,
No, he
Max
does.
Woodlander. I go way back. Yes.
He got it all.
He does watch tennis.
I would not have picked.
Shannon, do you ever play?
I didn't feel that.
Could you
I didn't feel
imagine
that.
being
No.
a tennis
No,
ball
no,
getting
no,
hit
no.
by Shannon?
No,
Fun
I don't think that. But I love to
Fun
watch
Hit the ball,
Sport.
knock it
Good
into the
workout.
stands. You know
All
what
right,
I'm
we'll
saying?
leave it there, guys.